Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had the time to take some coffee or maybe consume the bottle of energy drink from the care package. Again, if you haven't received the care package, you can leave your address in the Q&A field in the screen. But after this great presentation of Jeffrey and Michel, I have the honor now to introduce Evelien Vredeveld. Evelien is Brand and Internal Communications Manager at Microsoft and responsible for the cultural transformation that's needed also to make sure that all that tech intensity is being embraced. So Evelien is standing here next to me. She's going to talk about the cultural transformation and the growth mindset, and I'm really looking forward to that story. So Evelien, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Patrick. Thanks for having me and inviting me to tell this beautiful story of Microsoft. I want to start by saying that this is a story that is not doesn't have an end. We're still on this journey of culture transformation, but I just want to take you with me on this journey of the past 5 to 6 years when Satya Nadella started. And like with every transformation, there's always a from and to. So let me start talking a little bit about the from to. By illustrating it with press coverage that we got around 2012-2014. As you can see here, that there was a lot of discussions in the press about our internal politics, about a culture that drove really valuable and bright people away. And those people are needed to have business success, right? So when Satya started, he made an effort talking a lot about cultural transformation, and not only about his mission, but also to drive that mission to really transform the business so we wouldn't see these headlines anymore. As these headlines are not a goal on itself, but while going on a transformation, you saw, in the next slide, you saw that all the headlines were changing. We didn't talk about internal politics anymore. There were signs that we were talking more about customer success. And in that period, Satya also wrote a book. It's called Hit Refresh. And in that book, he talked about the culture transformation. And he said, and there was one quote that really illustrates what he meant by Hit Refresh. He says, ideas excite me and empathy grounds me. And that was a basis for the whole cultural transformation. He was very much... how do you say? He was very much into the growth mindset because he read the book of Carol Dweck. So myself, I started 5 years ago within Microsoft. So it was right in that period where the press was not that good. And when I started, I think Satya started in 2014. And he first installed a new mission statement. And this mission statement was built in like 4 to 5 months. And they talked about every word in that mission statement. They talked about empowering every person and every organization on the planet. What does planet mean? And like 40 plus years ago, they talked about every PC in every desk in everybody's home. You know, so this is an evolvement of that mission statement. So we started talking about achieving more. In the first couple of months, this mission statement was all about doing more. And people already discussed it. Do more. We don't want to do more. We want to achieve more. And we're already doing a lot. We're already spending a lot of time working, harmonizing work life, etc. So we wanted to achieve more and not do more. So this is where he worked with the whole team and got feedback from the whole organization on this new mission statement that was installed like 6 years ago. And as part of this mission statement, he said, if we want to really achieve this mission statement, it's crucial that we change our culture. I don't want to focus on internal politics. I don't want to focus on all those internal things that don't matter. It's about customer. It's about customer success. It's about empathy, really listening and observing what the customer really needs. That's what I want from this company, and I want everybody to think that way. There's a nice illustration of when he just was in office, just a couple of days in office. He wanted a new chief of staff, and he asked this lady, and this lady asked him, "So why do you want me as a chief of staff?" He says, "Because the way you treat people, That's what I want from for the whole organization. The way you treat people is what I want from the whole organization. You act with empathy. You listen, you observe. And this is crucial if you want to achieve this mission. So what is this aspire to culture? I'm still talking about aspire to culture because it's still not the culture. We're getting there, but it's still something that we need to build. Still that we need to go after and instill in our company. So like 5 years ago when I started here in the Netherlands, we made a really big effort talking to people managers and everybody to make sure this growth mindset is something that we act upon. So what does growth mindset really mean? Let me dive a little bit deeper. Growth mindset for Microsoft, it means that we are customer obsessed, what I said before. We listen, we observe, and we have empathy. So we really have empathy for what matters most for customers. We are diverse and inclusive, and you can turn that around. Being inclusive first and then diverse, because if you're diverse and inclusive, then if you're not inclusive, then you cannot be diverse because people will leave you. And we want to be inclusive. We want to be there for everybody on the planet, remember? And we want to act as one Microsoft. We used to go to customers with a big group of people and from different angles, but we want to come across as one Microsoft. As well as internally, we team up, as well as towards our customers, and align and work together for a common goal. And only then, Satya says, only then we can make a difference. We can make a difference within our company, we can make a difference towards our customers and in the market. We can really mean something. So this quote is from Bloomberg. It's a quote from 2016. And for him, it's about really, really learning new things. If you are open to other ideas, if you are able to take risks, which are typically behaviors of a growth mindset, then you are really, really trying to understand the customer. Real empathy goes with that. And then you are really learning new things. And I just heard Jeffrey and Michel talk about that because we want people to embrace new skills. Only if you're learning new things, if you're not learning, you stop doing great things. So this learn it all attitude is what he really wants. Being open. And now in the current situation, what's going on in the US, he also reminds us that we need to act upon, that we need to listen, and that we need to listen to others to really understand what's going on. And that way you learn. So always being open. So he says this about learning and having this growth mindset. If we dive a little bit deeper, and this is the journey we started like 5 years ago in the Netherlands as well, what is the opposite of a growth mindset? If you dive a little bit deeper, you can see it's a know-it-all attitude. When I came in 5 years ago, this is a little bit what was going on. The best boy, best girl in the classroom, and we know it all, but we need to change that, because if you know it all, you're not learning and you can't be there for your customer. So this is about learnings, this is about celebrating risks. And if you make a mistake, and sometimes that happens, who is there to help you? Who is there? What did you learn from that mistake? And what team member will help you to fix it? We fix it together, not getting angry at each other, but learning from mistakes. It's like almost a growth mind session, what you can also do with children. If you're not open to learning and make a mistake on the same path, then what are you actually learning? You're learning from mistakes, right? And then regular feedback. And I will come back to that, because feedback is sometimes really hard for people. So in the system, we really changed how we are giving feedback. And that's enlightening, and that's really good for people, because if you give feedback in the right way, then also then you're learning. So what is the common thread of growth mindset? Is that you don't have a fixed mindset, but that you're open to other ideas. In our new hire program, we always do a little test. So we go, we test your own growth mindset, because if you test your own growth mindset, then you really feel what it is. So when I did the test like 4 years ago or so I was high on taking risk, I was high on the other things. But there was one thing, open to other ideas. And I thought, hey, I'm open to other ideas. That's my job. You know, I need to be open to other ideas. But if you really test it, I scored a little bit lower, not low, but a little bit lower. And once you know it, you pay attention to it. So you're learning what growth mindset means for me. It starts with I, just like being inclusive, it starts with I. And by doing that little personal test, it's your own test, with new hires, we show them what it really means to have a growth mindset. And that's what we do. So how did we go about, from a global perspective and a local perspective, how did we approach landing this growth mindset? Because it's one thing that Satya talks about his mission. He talks about the culture that he thinks enables this mission. But how do you go about? How do you land such a thing? This is a question I get a lot from customers. I do a couple of presentations a month, doing brainstorm sessions around it, and we always talk. So people want to know how you do it, because you know you read about growth mindset in Carol Dweck, and you can read and learn about it. But the how is really interesting, because how does it stick? How do you make sure this really lands with people, that you really feel it? Now, I already gave a little example how you can do a little personal test to see how your own growth mindset is. But how did Microsoft globally go about that? So we had an approach of 4 levers to really land the culture. We change behaviors, we focus on behaviors, symbols, systems, and of course storytelling. I'm a communication manager, so of course that's in there as well. So behaviors are actions that complement and drive action. So we really want to have behavior, tangible things that we want people to do, to show that they embrace growth mindset, to show they care for others, to see that if they go to a customer, if they talk to a customer, they listen and they observe and they look into what the problem or the challenge for that or opportunity for that customer is. That's something else than going in, this is our technology, thank you, and we go out again. That's totally different. It's the opposite of the fixed mindset. If some examples on a global level, we used to have a big event that's called like 25K, came together, all execs were presenting, it was sending. When Satya started, he immediately changed that. He says if we want to have this growth mindset embedded in our culture, then we also need to change our behaviors. So they launched 1 week and Global Hackathon, which is part of 1 week. And this is coming together, people coming together, building new stuff, really cool stuff. For example, there's a man who is suffering from ALS and he wants to, with his eyes, move his wheelchair. Well, during the hackathon, they built something and now they can even speak through the eyes, etc. So this is what we want. We want to contribute to society. We want to be open. We want to work together as a team to create stuff and not just sending. So this is a typical thing that you change in your behavior by really showing what kind of actions are going with that. Also, we were making new friends, like we say. We were always very much not talking about our colleagues, you know, a competitor or how do you want to call it. But we wanted to be open, literally be open, which means that you also work together with other people, that you see where you can complement each other. So this is a big change that happened with relation to behavior. We also changed symbols such as awards, recognition, rituals. And this is something that we did. So we sparked cultural conversation with symbols. This looks like an open door. You know, you see the cups with all the beautiful images on it. But we had really beautiful quotes on there. And we tested this throughout the global organization. We have 500 people throughout the global organization that give feedback on these conversations, on these materials that we created. And you see on one of the cups, you see Gandhi. And in India, this is not okay, putting Gandhi on a cup. I kept it deliberately in the presentation because I want to show you that you also have to listen to your employees, getting feedback from your employees on your cultural journey. So this is not something that is top down only, it's bottom up as well. And you can see here, India said, well, we don't want Gandhi to end up in a garbage bin, which is, yeah, logical. It's obvious, right? So we changed that and we took out that cup, of course. So we're testing all the things that we are doing to spark our cultural conversation. So outside, such as library, there's also, outside such as office, there's also a little library where you can pick books that are related to growth mindset. So all these things help from a global perspective. But I'm sure you want to know, what are we doing locally? Because you can land it from corp and top down, but what happens bottom up in the organization, in a country organization such as Microsoft the Netherlands? Well, we, maybe some of you know, we closed our office for like half a year to refresh this office. And just before, we did a whole research. So what does it take for people here in Microsoft the Netherlands to embrace this growth mindset, to think differently, to be open to other ideas? And we worked together with the University of Utrecht. We worked together with Tony Crabb, who's a business psychologist. And we looked into the opportunities to instill some behavior, and we call it rituals, 6 rituals. So these were created bottom up. These were created by 200 employees who did questionnaires, who did research together with the university. So what does it mean for you? What does it mean to create focus and attention? What does it mean for you to embrace this growth mindset? Are you able to do so? And if not, what does it take for you to be able to do so? To always be learning, to embrace skills. So what does it take to do that? Well, this is one of the 6 rituals that we installed just before we closed the office, and we asked everybody by experiment to really work with these rituals when closing. And we had 8 vloggers vlogging about their experience about this. And so I can dive a little bit deeper. I won't do that right now, but this is about we contribute in engagement with others. So we listen, we observe, like I said before, and we make conscious choices. So we achieve more in the time that we have. So this is what we did in the Netherlands, and we're still using them. Specifically in this time, during COVID-19, we see that these are very valid again, because we're trying to harmonize work-life, keep our growth mindset, and we need some daily tools, some help, some support to really do that. And with these rituals, which we use among ourselves, but also towards our customers, we also changed our building. So we gave the architect these rituals. This is the inspired culture that we wanted in this building, and we created the building as such. So now it's 30% workplace, and this building, this Microsoft building, is now 70 to 80% customer focused, customer space, customer meeting rooms, customer experience center that we have here. We didn't have that before, so we totally flipped the workplace 30% to 70% customer space. So this is also being literally being open and embracing growth mindset. So if you look how we did that in the Netherlands, we had a bottom-up involvement of colleagues, just what I said before. We had a lot of dialogue and interactive tools. This is also part of growth mindset, being open, listening. We communicated internally and externally, not top-down, but together with our colleagues. And of course, we made the inspired culture of growth mindset part of our office design, what I just said. And we see this customer hub as the brand new teams, physically teams. So this is for the example of the Netherlands. So what else did we do? The third one. We had behavior, we had symbols, and now we have systems. Systems of organizational processes. This is where the HR community is also very interested. I'm doing this presentation later on this month to the Dutch HR community, and they're talking about operating, so feedback, giving feedback, rhythms. What can we change in our systems so that we embed this growth mindset, right? So this, I'll give you an example here, from activity to impact. We used, and I don't know, maybe for you it sounds familiar, when we do our performance review, it's a list of all activities that you see. Nice, very nice. But is that making the impact that you want? I don't know, we don't know. So we changed that. We want to have an impact-based. So you see the 3 circles, contribute to the team, contribute to the success of others, and building on other ideas of others. You see that the growth mindset language, which I just explained, you see it coming back in our performance review system. Another thing that we changed is the language. We don't talk about feedback, because that could be critical feedback, etc. We talk about perspectives. So I'm able to ask my colleague for a perspective on my work, on my behavior, or whatever. So it's the language in the systems that we also changed. Quite important. And it's embraced really throughout the global organization. Just a few steps so we talked about those three things: behavior, systems, the rituals, etc. So that's all very, very nice. But if you really want to land it, you have to continue telling that story in different ways. And I remember that Satya at a certain point did a BBC interview. I think it's a year ago, half a year ago, I can't remember. I was very interested because he said in an interview, you know, I keep reminding everybody about our mission statement. I keep reminding everybody about our growth mindset. And it almost sounds like a broken record, right? That's what I thought. And but it's important. We need to keep this in front of people. We need to keep talking about it to keep it alive. We need to show what we can do about it. We need to show the actions that are related to it and the impact related to it. And how our employees tell our stories. So if you see this, 3 pillars for engaging employees, which is part of my job here in the Netherlands as well, is driving culture and awareness. Those are the 3 things that we're really trying to achieve by landing the culture. We use this, 3 pillars for engaging employees: driving awareness and engagement, building confidence in our leadership and strategy, which is really important, and I'll highlight a little bit later, and enabling advocacy. In the Netherlands, we call it the Digital Rockstar Program. We really want to make sure that people are enabled to tell the story. So that's the most powerful tool that you can have, that your own employees tell the culture story in their social media, in their channels that they are using. And you can see 5 ways to help drive employee engagement. Drive the narrative, be the hub leader. So we need to have a local, and that's what Corp did really well, and what we're doing in the Netherlands as well, that we have a local asset a hub where you can find all the materials related to culture. So whatever customer you go to, whoever you talk to, you can always find the right stuff. So it's really important. And creating engaging content focused on the employee. Help leaders and managers become better communicators. This is a very important one, because what happens is that we call it the frozen middle. In Microsoft globally, we have 17,000 people managers. And they are the leaders to carry the culture. And what we find was we call it the frozen middle, because they are so packed with all their responsibilities. They have a team, they have their business goals that they need to achieve. And all those things make that it's hard. So we're helping the people managers. This is what we done 5 years ago. We started with the growth mindset with the people managers community here in the Netherlands as well, to drive the culture, to make sure they are able to talk to their team about the culture. We listen. We have a lot of channels that we listen to our colleagues. And last but not least, we want to make employees our advocates. In the Netherlands, we call it the Digital Rockstar Program. And it's really nice if you look from a communication perspective to track those things, to see that if you use, we use Microsoft hashtag Microsoft Live, for example. So Global is tracking how many employees, and we see the value of it, because with every share of an employee, we get 12 views on our pages, which also attracts new talents. So it's a very powerful tool, our own communication, our own people. So, running out of time, I think, I want to share with you 10 things that we've learned about culture. I won't go through all of them, I just highlight a few. Of course, communicate. I'm a communication manager, so of course I will say that. But one is really, really important, is that make it who you are. You can. I get a lot of questions from customers and partners that they are interested to know. How can I copy this? You cannot copy this. I hope with this story I can inspire you to go on a journey like this. It's a process, and the power of transforming is in the process. It's a from to. It's together with your employees. It's together with maybe the community where you're in, driving this cultural transformation. So make it who you are. You can't plot one culture of another company to your own. You can only inspire other companies. And like I said, it's still a journey that we are on, so we don't know it all. We don't want to be know-it-all. Be humble, stay the course. And this is what Satya also says. He keeps repeating the same message, and in a humble way, because we are not saying that we know it all. We don't know. Hey, you can see in the press clips that I showed you at the beginning that it's a journey and that we have success by it, but we're still on it. And yeah, we say like culture eats strategy for breakfast, and that's why we put a lot of effort in maintaining this cultural transformation and keeping the journey going. So with that, I thank you. I would love to hear if there are questions afterwards. Just let me know, and thank you for your attention, and I hope it was valuable to you.